welcome. I'm so excited to have you for this. I think this is just going to be one of the most inspiring stories that we're able to tell here. Go ahead and start by just introducing your name, yourself, and let's say where you're from and how old you are.
All right. So I'm Tabitha and I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm 41 now.
Nice, awesome. And
Yeah.
tell me, how many kids do you have?
So we have four. The oldest is 9. Let's see, I always mix them all up. 7, 5, and 4.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they're
a
busy.
lot going on, a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into kind of what your life looks like now, but I want to actually rewind first. So
Yeah.
let's kind of go back to, let's say, when we had met and where your
Yeah.
health and your fitness journey was then, and what was that like from a personal perspective?
Yeah. So when we first met, I was definitely on the struggle bus. I was trying to work out. And eat healthy. I've always considered myself like a healthy eater in general. But there were past experiences with, disordered eating, things that you've been told, like you need to eat low carb. And so there was kind of like some past um, things that I would think about when I was eating quote unquote healthy when we had talked. And then as far as like working out went, I was getting up at 3:45 in the morning, 4 o'clock, because I felt like I had to get an hour and a half workouts in. Like I was doing, cardio, I was doing strength, and then I would get injured. And then I would wait, and then I would start it again. And so I was in this like really negative cycle of eating and working out. And then on top of that, very stressful job, managing children, managing the household, and really trying to, in my eyes then, with the lens that I had, rose colored glasses, was taking care of myself. So that's kind of where I was when we met.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because yeah, just waking up at 3:45 in the morning because you feel like you have to, right? Otherwise, I'm not healthy. I'm not going to reach my goals. And
Yeah.
you mentioned that negative cycle, and I remember distinctly you had coined it in one of our first conversations of it's this negative soundtrack that plays in my head over and over again. So could you
Yeah.
walk me through like what did that soundtrack sound like and how did it impact throughout the course of just like your day to day?
Yeah, so there were several like buckets I would say that this soundtrack played into. There was my just overall mindset about life. I'm not good enough. I've got to keep going. I'm not going to make it. Just kind of kept playing over and over, just being able to deal with my life. And then the exercise bucket. I'm never going to be stronger. I can't get stronger because I keep getting injured. I'm not working out enough. I must be doing something wrong. And like over and over keeping that going and then looking at myself in the mirror and not seeing what I wanted to see. I always saw the flaws. I always saw I'm not thin enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough muscle. I'm not in the same size pants that I used to be. Those things kept going over and over and over in my mind no matter what time of day, no matter where I was. And so those things were there with the physical and the mental. And then just it was in the relationships as well, specifically, our marriage. I'm not doing anything right. I'm not enough. I'm not a good enough wife. I'm not, I don't look good enough. It was just constantly playing over and over those things in all areas of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, I mean, we have so many thoughts every day, right? And we know we have 60,000 plus thoughts per day, and so many of them are negative, but these are like cutting thoughts, like just
Yeah.
absolutely cruel. The
Yeah.
unfortunate thing is that it's not uncommon. And I think a lot of women, even just like who will listen to this, will relate to every single thing that you said, and they have a very
And
similar soundtrack.
For me, I wanted to get out of it and I didn't know how. It just kept going. It wouldn't stop. It was if someone said something to me, if I saw myself in the mirror, if I saw someone else, there was the comparison. And so there was nothing that didn't trigger it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it just sounds absolutely debilitating, right? Of like,
Mhm.
and I think it's good that it's at least like recent enough to where you can really recall what that feels like. It sounds like, because for myself, it's been like many, many years since I was stuck in a cycle similar to that. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit farther removed, harder for me to really remember what those thoughts were. I didn't
Yeah.
even know what mindfulness was back then, so I don't even know if I knew the thoughts.
Right.
Let's fast forward now. So you've been with PCC for how long now?
I think I'm on week 10.
Week 10. Week 10
Yeah.
of PCC, since you took the leap and jumped in, what does your mindset, your health, your fitness look like right now?
I would say it is a polar opposite for sure. The only thing that comes to mind for me is just the opposite of negative is exactly positive. I don't look at in the mirror and really see myself in the way that I used to see. I'm much more confident. Um, the pants size doesn't matter to me anymore. I feel stronger. I feel more confident. I'm just happier because the negative thoughts aren't weighing me down. It's like a weight has been lifted. And so that part has been immensely huge in the, what I want to say, just the effect that it has taken with my kids, my husband, my friends. I'm a much better person. And then for like my health, I think that that was really playing a huge part in the stress load of um, just how much that mental game just really weighs on your body physically. Having aches and pains, having injuries, having quote unquote injuries. I wouldn't say it was an actual injury. Um, and then, the physical part, just exercise is totally different for me now. I'm not waking up at the crack of dawn. I get in, my steps every day. So I'm really just mindful about how much I'm moving. And then I'm really trying to work on that strength training. And so it's 30 to 45-minute workout. And the part for me that has changed a lot with my mindset towards that is if it gets interrupted or it's not exactly perfect, it doesn't rock my world like it used to. I mean, I would be devastated. I would be on the treadmill an extra hour or something, like really like like pushing it to the metal because I missed something before, and now it's not that punishment type mentality. It's really I get to do this. I got done what I could get done, and just really looking for that positive part of what I was able to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, overall, it just sounds like such a healthy relationship with yourself because you're not
Mhm.
punishing yourself. You're not beating yourself down for what you're not enough of. It's just this privilege that you get to work out to take care of your body and take care of yourself. So
Yeah,
that's amazing. So tell me then, the ripple effect. So we've talked a lot about the ripple effect of how
we
this has
have.
impacted your life in all other aspects and facets. So kind of elaborate on that. What have you accomplished
Yes.
since taking this bet on yourself?
Yeah, so let me go back to taking that bet on myself because when you were asking me if I wanted to join, I was like, I can't. I had every excuse in the book, right? Really wanting to do it deep down, but no, I can't do it. My husband said, no, we can't afford this, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have time. What several other people have probably said when they think about joining, um, but something deep down told me I really need to do this. And you kept asking. And so I was like, I wish this woman would just stop asking me. But you didn't. And I'm thankful for that because I finally took the step to believe in myself enough. And I think that's what the whole stepping stone for me was, is that I knew I needed to do this and I'm going to do it for myself. I'm going to invest in myself. I took on an extra job to even pay for the thing because I was like, I need to do this, right? So I took the decision to do it, started it. It was the amazing from the first step, right? And, so a few weeks in, I'm like working on, mindfulness and healthy habits and, talking with my husband about it. My kids notice a lot of things. They're very observant. And so they're like, why are you taking a picture of your food? They're wanting to know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And so it created this ripple effect with them. I've always taught them to be healthy and look at food as nourishment and that type of thing. But it really kind of empowered them a little bit more. And then I think the big thing for me was with my husband. We talked a lot about this and how I didn't see it at first. You kind of pointed it out, and I was like, yeah, he's changed his habits. Like he's not sitting on the couch watching TV or scrolling his phone. He's taken up mountain biking, and so he's exercising. He's lifting weights, and that was one of the things. He was just biking and he's like, I really need to get faster. And I was like, well, I think you should probably start strength training. And he's like, yeah, I really just don't want to lift weights. And I was like, okay. And I just keep on going. But soon, like a few weeks later, here we are in the basement and he's over here like, lifting weights. So I think that the drastic change in lifestyle for him has made a huge impact, and I didn't realize like maybe I did have an impact in that the decision that I made to invest in myself. So it kind of rippled into him, rippled into our kids, and now my family and friends are starting to see differences and they're asking questions, and so I just think that that's been really powerful to see, especially for our family unit as a whole. Like we're outside all the time. The kids are exercising. I've even heard my 4-year-old say, I think I need to get some exercise, mommy. So, they're seeing everything. So it's just been a really positive impact in our entire family life.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, it's just been cool. I mean, did you say your husband's lost weight too since all this?
Gosh, he's lost at least 30 pounds. It could be a little bit more. I mean, it's unreal. But he's gone from a completely different lifestyle. He's healthier than he's ever been since we've been married. He's, leaner than I've seen him since we got married. I mean, he's almost down to the weight that he was at when we got married 13
Wow.
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And so that's just, I mean, crazy in and of itself. And, I like to think that I have some part in that. And then little tidbits that I'm learning. I'm like, hey, have you tried that? And he's like, I think that's a good idea. And so he'll start trying things that I'm learning. So
yeah,
that's really cool to see.
that's really cool. And I think it, like you said, it all started with believing in yourself enough to stop asking for permission and start asking for forgiveness of, I'm gonna do this, so y'all
You
can
know,
follow along or not.
Yeah, and I think that was huge for me to hear even in our conversation, Marissa, you saying that and me becoming aware of that thought process. Like I hadn't even thought that I was thinking that way, like, oh, I'm asking for permission. I didn't think I was. And then hearing that process, I was like, oh my, the awareness that was brought to some of the things was huge for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's awesome just, like how it can benefit the family unit, the kids, and you're missing one big piece, which is you kind of took a really big leap professionally as well because of the confidence that was sparked from these changes. So tell me a little
Yes,
bit
you're
about
right. I completely forgot about that because I'm like out of sight, out of mind. Um, yeah, so I don't even remember how many weeks I had been into the program. Maybe like 4 or 5. It wasn't very, very many. In this profession, super stressed out, super miserable, no desire to do teaching anymore and just really wanting a change. And I was like, I'm going to make it till the end of the year. I can hold out. And after doing the program, I felt so confident that I was just going to go in and put my 2-week notice in. And I was applying for jobs like crazy. I was finding any kind of position I felt like I was qualified for, or that I felt motivated to do and inspired by, so that I could fulfill that bucket. But I went out and just was applying for jobs, found something at least for the time being, and said, putting my 2 weeks in, here you go. And I was out by Christmas break. I was like, this is not going to be my life anymore. I'm not going to live this life anymore of stress and chaos. And it was almost codependency on a job that you don't want to do anymore. And I just had learned so much in the first few weeks about mindfulness and just how your thoughts play into your life. And I was like, you know what? Done with this. Peace out.
Absolutely. And I'm really proud of you for that because you were going to be out eventually, but I mean, you just accelerated the process and you just kind of have that figure it out mentality now. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to figure it out.
Yeah, and figuring out a way to make it work. And that's what I'm doing now. And I think it just opens your eyes, like when you start believing in yourself and you have this program and the support of your coach, and the people in the community that are, offering suggestions, and just you feel supported, that you're like, you know what, I can do anything, like you're just so empowered. And I think that's one of the first times that I've felt that in a really long time. And so I think that's kudos to PCC. So
Well, we're really happy to just facilitate that. But I think that there may be somebody listening to this at this point in the conversation being like, this is all just woo-woo BS, like mindfulness. What do you
yeah,
mean? Like, I just need to eat less and move more or something like that. So
yeah.
can you give like a tactical example of like, what is the work that you've been doing that translates into this confidence, that translates into this freedom?
Yeah. um I think it's a lot of really being aware of what choices you're making, um, around food, around exercise, around what fills your bucket. Where are you putting in a lot of energy, and what is it? How is it affecting habits in your life? What emotions do you have? It's really becoming aware of those things in your life, and then how are you making those decisions to either impact the outcome that you want, or do they impact it in a negative way? And then you get to choose. Like, you're learning how to be mindful with the thoughts and choices that you're making, and how does that impact the outcome that you want. And so for me, that has been a lot of really slowing down and thinking about my actual thoughts around different things, my thoughts around what food choices am I making? Well, why did I make that? And really sitting with it. Um, and did I really want to do that, or was I just emotionally eating? Was I eating out of stress? Was I eating out of frustration? And really becoming mindful around those types of things. But then also, really figuring out emotions in general. I think I started a meditation breathing practice, which, I had done before, but nothing really that stuck, And so I think when you attach those things with the resources that PCC has given around mindfulness, it really just combines into like this whole big awareness of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of what I'm understanding from that, right, is most of us operate so much on like autopilot day to day of just
Mhm.
habits that are so ingrained that we don't
Yeah.
realize how many kind of dysfunctional patterns we kind of have and perpetuate, like
Yeah.
putting ourselves on the back burner, saying, I don't have time. And these are things that like it's hard to express and talk about because usually when we're in it, we accept it as truth, right?
Mhm.
I don't have time. Then
Yeah.
so the practice is really bringing awareness to, okay, I had the thought that I don't have time. Is that true? Actually,
Right.
actually it might not be. How might it not be? Troubleshoot that with your coach. Okay, now we have the time. Let's put these things in it and then you see those
Yeah.
benefits. So,
Yeah. And identifying those things, I think when you are in just such a space of, and I think in our culture today too, it's go, go, go. It's do this, eat on the run, just kind of like this fast pace that you don't even realize what habits you're doing or not doing, or what you're thinking about different choices that you made, because you're just running, right? And so some of the activities just really helped me identify, I think that's one of the first things, is identifying like, wow, I didn't realize I did that. Like
yeah.
the awareness piece of it. And then you can work through the activities with your coach. And I think that's where that's super helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just so hard to describe, but I think that's a really good example of that. So,
Yeah.
I would be curious to know going through many of the doubts and fears that you had in the pivotal moment of taking that bet on yourself and saying yes to yourself, right? I think it's more about the principle than it is like me at PCC. It's I want
Yeah.
women to bet on themselves. So
Yeah.
what would you say to somebody who is on the fence about, let's say, investing in PCC and or just making a big pivotal life change that is terrifying?
Yeah. I would say I've done a lot of things in the past however many years. Um, I can look back on big decisions and be like, "Ooh, that was a bad one," or like, "Oh, I should have maybe went the other direction with that." But like thinking back, however many weeks ago that I made this decision, hands down, best decision of 2023, because I think it's it's transforming my family's life for this coming year. Um, it's transforming our health, it's transforming our finances. And I think that can be a huge barrier for some people. It was for me at first, but you can make it work. Like we're, down part of a salary right now and we're still making it work. So you think about like a budget. Are we budgeting our money the right way to invest in ourselves? Are we, you know, having the time? I have more time, I feel like, since I've started this program than I did before. And so I think I would encourage someone that's, kind of on the fence about that, thinking about um, how can I make this work? What value can it bring in the future, and kind of visualize that for yourself, or at least that's what I did. Really, like I talked to my coach, setting up a vision board, as soon as I started. And those are the things that I'm working for, right? And so I think asking yourself, how can I make this work? Not how can I not make this work? Um, and there's a way, there's always a way. If you want to do it bad enough, if you want to make improvements in your life, that much, there's a way. You can make it work. Um, Financially, physically, time wise, um, there's ways to make all of it work. So that's my thought, is just say to yourself, how can I make this work if there's something that's in the way of you saying yes?
Yeah, especially because you were a teacher at the time and a mom of four. So
Yeah,
there was a big, I love how you said the time constraint. You have more time now, not just because you pieced out and quit. You're still working multiple jobs now. Um,
right.
you just were able to alleviate, 30 to 45 minutes of an hour and a half workout at 3:45 in the morning and
Yeah.
give
I
yourself.
don't get up at 3:45 in the morning either anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
um,
I love it. Awesome.
yeah.
Well,
So
then I guess the last question I have is just, is there anything else about your experience or this transformation, the ripple effect of this transformation that you think that people should know as we finish this up?
yeah, I think that the ripple effect and the transformation that I'm having is absolutely huge, but it's not quick. It's like a process, right? It's a journey. And so I don't think that, and nor did I go into this thinking it would be quick, but give yourself time, give yourself grace, and try to see like the road that you're going down. Because ultimately you're going to get there. But yeah, so the transformation has been huge, but it's definitely a process. It's definitely a journey, but anything worth the risk, worth the time, worth the money is that, I feel like. I mean, you think about life and it's just that way. And I feel like this is just a parallel to that journey that you're on. So
Yeah.
it's kind
Love it. That's a great message. It will be a huge transformation, but it won't be quick. Awesome. All right. Well, then we'll drop the mic right there. And
of,
if this was impactful for you listening to this, just drop a comment below, say impact in the comments below if this was impactful for you, to let Tabitha know that something here resonated. And I believe you're in the free Facebook group, right?
I am. Yeah.
So she's in there too. And I mean, you can comment, we can comment back and forth and just show your support for her story and the courage that she had and just the inspiration that I know she's going to give to a lot of you here. So thank you so much and
Yeah, thank you.
appreciate you.
Everything that you've done. So